Jar Oil. The company have filling stations across the country, and our rates are relatively cheaper than anyone else across the country. Jar Oil is the biggest producer and distributor of cement in the country with the most competitive prices in the market.
Axel jam si Wave.
Yo, apply. Yo, luta do de. Luta mo nulo jël moto nga andil ma xaalis. Hello?
Bisul mu fine.
What?
Bisul mu fine.
Oh, yes!
Wave Axina Gambia. Deposit and withdraw money, pay bills and buy mobile credit without fees. Transfer money wherever in the country for only 1% fee. At Wave. Bisul mu fine? Wave. Your money is yours.
The minister is here. Goodness me, he's always super dressed. I don't know how to, what it will take to raid his cupboard, but I intend to do so very soon. Welcome back, Dr. Sise.
Thank you and good morning, Peter.
Good morning. You almost gave me a scare. I thought you were going to be here dead on 9.
Yeah. I was here.
Because for some reason you want to leave by 9:45 this morning. You have an important meeting?
Yes, we are launching the new Madrasa policy.
Ah.
Yes, I'll discuss it later.
You'll discuss it later? Yes. Okay. As usual, welcome. Let's start with updates.
Well, thank you very much. Happy Eid to you.
Thank you.
To every Gambian.
Yeah, happy Eid, and you did not send me any mutton.
It will come. I posted it.
You mean next year?
I posted it. So as usual, the president gave his usual Tobaski message. Mm-hmm. This time it was done at the prayer grounds in Banjul, where the president, His Excellency, extended heartfelt Tobaski greetings to all Muslims in the Gambia, but also around the world. He also commended Gambians for their enduring commitment to peace and unity as well. Then he specifically congratulated Gambian pilgrims currently in Mecca performing the Hajj. So that was a very good speech where he also emphasized the government's resolve to fight corruption and impunity in the country.
On the pilgrims, did he acknowledge that, there have been complaints this time?
Well, he doesn't have to acknowledge it in the speech. That should be acknowledged through action. Action was taken. And some of the complaints and those have been resolved. Obviously, there's a ministry responsible for that, and there's a minister responsible for religious affairs. Those complaints were brought to their attention, and they took the necessary measures to make sure that those complaints have been resolved. So that doesn't have to come on the president's speech.
Okay.
Apart from that, this KBIS issue in Brufut, last week a caller called to say that it's still open, even though the Ministry of Basic Education made a press release that it was closed. Upon further engagement with the minister, I came to realize that those who are infected are still there, undergoing treatment. They are quarantined there because the scabies is highly contagious. And advice from the Ministry of Health was that they should stay in the premises to get treatment there. But those who are not infected were relocated to other madrasas. And the Ministry of Health is taking measures, working with Gambia Immigration Department and the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Welfare, to make sure that this issue is being resolved.
Immigration Department, I would suggest that the people involved may not all be Gambian.
Well, it's actual. I think the first institution to really find this out was the Immigration Department. They do this round inspections. I think they're the ones who brought this to the attention.
That's what I'm saying.
Public, yes.
There must be suspicion that either some of the teachers there or the owners of the school may not be Gambian.
Well,
and
I
so
wouldn't know the role of... Yes.
I don't think they would go to St.
Yes,
Augustine's
exactly.
High School, for instance.
I agree with you. I wouldn't know an exact role of immigration. I think they'll enlighten me at some point later. But I know that they're also involved. It is possible that because remember, some of these children who come also come from other countries as well, come from Senegal and neighboring countries to go to school here. That might be the case. I'm not saying that is not that might be the case. That might
that
be
doesn't warrant immigration officers going into a school.
Involvement.
I mean,
well, I don't know. I know that they would during inspection.
Let's just say we'll find out what the role of the immigration department is in all this.
Yes,
if you had said
exactly.
the army, the armies usually have their own medical corps. You understand?
But if we have non-Gambians there, the immigration department has business there, particularly if they're over 18.
That's what I am. That's what I'm saying. I am saying, are they there because either the owners or most of the children are known to be non-Gambian?
That should there. That I would assume so.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I would assume so. Now, apart from that, Peter, I'd like to just focus on something that, whenever we talk about the president and the government's unprecedented moves to transform this country, we normally focus on the hard aspects of development: roads, schools, hospitals, like infrastructure. And there are three things that we normally leave behind, and I want to emphasize that today, and the steps this government is taking to make sure that we also promote those aspects. One is the human capital development. I am pleased to inform Gambians of the measures that this government is taking to promote human capital development. Currently, as we speak, we've invested a lot in TVET education, to the extent that we have two different models which are working concurrently. We have the multipurpose TVET centers, which teach young people construction, civil engineering, tailoring, welding and fabrication, and so on and so forth. And we've got one in Demban, one in Kanilai, in Mansa Konko, in Julangel, training over 1,000 young people into different fields. And this is only fully funded by the Gambia government. But also at the same time, we are building one in Wasu at the same time, another multipurpose TVET center. In addition, we have also specialized TVET centers. We are building one in Tujereng, which will focus on aquaculture and fisheries. And we are building also another one in Pachar, in CRR South, which will also teach young people agriculture, that will focus only on agribusiness, specialized. All these are geared towards ensuring that young people are given the right tools and the skills to make it. Peter, I believe that any politician who tells any young person that vote me and I'll change your life, they are lying to you. The only way you change young people's life is to empower them with the tools they need to succeed in life, and that is what this government is doing. And those tools are skills and education. That is why we've invested a lot in building a new university called USET, which will be in fact inaugurated sometime this month. Brand new, for the first time, we have our own university campus that teaches science and technology. This will be inaugurated. We are going to have our locally produced civil engineers, electrical and electronic engineers that are working together with other universities across the world. The USET will be inaugurated this month. But also with the TVET education, we don't only give the young people education as a government, we also provide capital for startups, so that when you finish your agribusiness or your aquaculture and you have a good project to go and do your own business, government gives you money for to do a startup. So these are some of the youth-led projects that we've done. We also give scholarships to these young people who are in the TVET centers as well. They don't pay. But also UTG, we are currently giving out 2,300 young people scholarships at UTG. We spend $36 million every year to transport them to Faraba Banta every morning and back again to attend their classes. But the good news is also that we are building almost a 2,000-room dormitory. The foundations will be laid very soon. This is together with MRC Holland Foundation and Broader Future. We are working to build a 2,000-bed dormitory at the university, so we don't need to have the buses anymore. For the USET, it's very important that we have our own university, which teaches children science and technology. Now, the policy we are launching today is called the Madrasa integration policy. For the first time in history of this country, this is happening. A strategy to integrate Madrasa education into post-secondary education, so that those young people who have gone to the madrasas can now also get access to go to university or to get TVET education. But also, we've also included integrated STEM and TVET education into the madrasas. So what the idea is as a government is
so you're going to be teaching them science, technology, engineering,
because the idea is that because the whole traditionally we think that if you go to madrasa, the only job you can get is to become an ustaz. No, we want to go beyond that as a government. We think that you can be an ustaz and be an engineer. You can go to madrasa, you graduate, you can become an engineer, you can become a tailor, you can become an electrician, you can be anything. It doesn't matter which school you go to.
Imam Babali is an engineer.
That's exactly, and he used to work for GUC, I understand.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
obviously, so you can the tailoring, agriculture, aquaculture, all these things. So all these things we are really doing to make sure we don't only create a reservoir of effective and efficient and productive human capital, but also empowering young people to make it in the Gambia. That's the only way you can help young people. It's not telling them all sorts of stories. It's to give them the tools they need in life and the skills to succeed on their own. And I think we are really successfully doing that.
Are you telling me this in response to opposition politicians who've been on the program recently, castigating the government for not, putting the emphasis on youths and hence, fueling the backway syndrome, the exodus of young Gambians?
Well, honestly, I haven't listened to that. I've been very busy this week, so I didn't get the chance to listen to
lucky you, because
here.
you would have had some painful things.
Well, like I said, Peter, we are focused. Others can talk whenever they have the opportunity to do so. But one thing I can tell you, Peter, is that all those who are talking, all those opposition spokespeople who are talking and criticizing the government, they don't bring alternatives to the table. Now, I want you to ask them. Some of them who are saying cost of living is expensive, rice is expensive. Tell us what you can do differently from what we are doing to bring the cost of rice down.
Sekou Kamara was on the program yesterday, and he gave us the alternative to an NPP-led government. What they would do,
Now you can give an alternative, but not a realistic alternative. Some of these are idealistic alternatives. Because what I'm saying, when we see a realistic alternative, we'll know. What I'm telling you is that currently, as we speak, the best we can get in the Gambia is the NPP-led coalition government and what we are providing. Anybody else who's talking is just being idealistic. We want realistic alternatives, not idealistic alternatives. What I'm trying to say here is that let them come and tell us what they will do differently. They need to first know what we are doing.
That's what I'm saying.
No, but
Sekou Kamara provided that yesterday.
Yeah, but I didn't listen to it, but I would presume it's idealistic.
It's on YouTube. You can.
Okay, listen to it. What I'm saying is, first tell us what they need to know. First, what we are doing. Some of them will come with their ideas, but they don't even know what we are doing. First, I want you to convince me. Tell me what I am doing, how I am doing it, and tell me what is wrong with what I'm doing, and this is how you will do it. Then I might listen to you, but don't just come with your idealistic ideas from that you.
You're asking for a debate. Who would you want to debate? From the opposition.
I know anybody who debates me will live to regret it.
Who would you like to debate?
No, anybody.
Okay.
So what I'm trying to say is that nobody can come with an alternative, a realistic one, that first points understands our model of development, our model of governance, and our model, our policies, understand it deeply, and find flaws and weaknesses in it, and highlights these flaws and weaknesses and why it's not working. It's like, and diagnose us, do a proper diagnostics of our development model, and find faults in these diagnostics and tell us why it is not working, and then counter it with prescriptions, policy prescriptions that you think is better than ours. Then we'll start listening to you. But we don't just want you to go and diagnose other societies and think that what can work in other societies can work here, and you bring those prescriptions, they will fail. So they don't have they are not an alternative. They don't have
development is not a one size fits all.
It is not. But for now, the NPP-led government is the best that we can have in terms of policy goals, in terms of policy objectives, or also in terms of policy and development implementation. So I think all these things were you doing for young people, and also for the women as well. We've been doing a lot of work empowering women. One of the key flagship projects that this government is doing is the Women Enterprise Fund. This Women Enterprise Fund supports small and micro entrepreneurs. These are women. They help those who are starting, but also help those who have already started and want to scale up. Now, in 2020, from 2020 to May 2025, we've helped 75,900 women, disbursing over $82,950,000, giving them access to capital, access to cash. And this is fully funded by the Gambia government to empower women to make it in the Gambia. This the government is doing. In addition to that, we have what they call the Women Economic Empowerment Project. Here, the strategy is to reduce infant and maternal mortality in the Gambia. And this was piloted in Kiang in 14 villages. And when they did the pilot for the first year, there was 0 incidents of infant and maternal mortality in the piloted villages. Is to give these women the skills to make income, but also help them with life skills and also. So all these things we are doing now, because it's successful in Kenya, we are going to replicate it and scale it up to other parts of the country. This is funded by the UNFPA. So all these are, we also have the NAFACA, the Family Strengthening Program, which also benefited 2011 individuals. These individuals are sourced from the GBOS data, and focus is on the elderly, the orphans, widows, but also people with disability. And we collect data from GBOS to give support in terms of cash transfer to these vulnerable groups in society. So all these are policies that the government is doing to ensure that we achieve three things: women empowerment, youth empowerment, but also building the necessary human capital base that the country needs to move.
End of updates?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, there's
But
one.
for the Madrasa, today we are launching the policy. It's a strategy. And like I said, is to ensure that now we expand also the human resource base and not focusing only on those who do conventional education, but also who are in the madrasas. We catch them and make sure that we integrate them into post-secondary education. This will also expand our human capital base.
Fantastic, fantastic. I thought you were going to actually start with the gentleman who has been chasing NAWEC for 39 years for water, and you people, did something about it. Would you like to share that with the public?
Well, I'm not sure exactly what was done. What I know is that I did the introduction with the MD. Yes. I arranged for them to meet, and I know that they met. After that, I'm not sure what has been done. My job was done.
I can help you fill in the blank spaces.
Yes.
Because we spoke on Tuesday. Again, through your assistants, the managing director, met him on Wednesday afternoon at 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
They had a very fruitful conversation. The managing director, from what I understand, has given a 30-day window for his water problem to be solved.
Oh, okay.
So by the end of June, Mr. Ba should be calling to say that
whether he has water.
That he has water.
Good.
If he doesn't call, it's a failing not only on NAWEC, but the managing director himself.
Yes.
Because it's his reputation now on the line.
Of course.
Because Mr. Ba spoke very highly of him. He made sure that, he insisted on paying for his passage back, and all of that. So he's done a great job.
Yep.
And, what it has revealed is that, really there is so much wrongdoing within NAWEC, to the point where, the managing director said,
has to intervene.
Has to intervene.
Yeah.
To say, well, I insist, it has to be done within this, because my understanding is when he called the person who was, responsible, all he said was, no, but we don't have pipes. And then the managing director said, don't worry, I will make sure that there are pipes.
Wow.
So really, NAWEC, you guys who work there, you really need to, reassess yourselves.
Yes, I think Peter, you are right.
And Mr. Sedi is Gallo Sedi, not so?
Gallo,
yeah,
yeah.
He needs to be commended.
Yeah, he needs to be supported by staff as well. Yeah. If you have a leader like that who is transformative, who wants to change things around, I think the staff need to support him. Yeah. But I think every Gambian should also support the government. Peter, every Gambian has a right, but also every Gambian has a responsibility. There were complaints yesterday that the streets were empty and people didn't go to work. I spoke with the public service minister. There'll be consequences for those who don't go to work. They'll collect the data. Also after the Eid, people just left all the litters everywhere. Everywhere was dirty. As citizens, we have to take responsibility. This is our country. We cannot blame government for every single thing. This is
why on the issue of Wanter, some of us took, an unambiguous position. You understand? Yeah, around the Serekunda market, it was filthy.
Yeah.
It was filthy.
I was in Banjul and
even though there was not meant to be one. What is wrong with enforcing law in this country? Streets are not marketplaces. All right? There's a good road, going through Dipakunda. Motorists cannot use it. Gambians and non-Gambians, I know a lot of people don't like me saying this, just barricade that place. In the middle of the road, they put their wares and start selling. And then they tell you, well, we're a country of laws. No. We have laws, but the laws are not enforced.
But the citizens also
Nobody drives a car into Serekunda market. Nobody drives a car into BCC market. So why should, sellers occupy roads for, motorists? Come on.
Well, anyways, I was listening to you this morning talking about ministers' travel patterns.
Yes.
And I'd like to make some clarifications.
I can repeat what I said.
Yes, I
said in the past, ministers would send press releases to media houses weeks before to ensure that they carry this in their news. The Minister of Information is about to go to Guinea-Bissau. Now you don't hear that.
I've never seen that before, Peter. Not under Yajam and not under Jam.
I have been doing this job for 40 years. You don't tell me what happens in my domain. I tell you what happens in my domain. And I am insisting. You can call Pap Sen. You can call other senior journalists.
I'm not saying that I said I've not seen it.
I didn't ask you whether you saw it. I was putting a point to you.
But also, I have not seen it before. Maybe it has happened. I'm not saying it did not happen. I'm saying I have not seen it.
Well, you are saying it hasn't happened if you say maybe.
I said I've not seen it. But anyways, what is important is that I think there is the misconception out there that why would ministers in fact hide that they are traveling? Nobody is hiding that we are traveling. In fact, people have to understand that
we need to know. There's a UN Ocean Conference in France. We need to know that the Gambia is being represented. That's what we are saying.
That's one thing. What I'm trying to get at is the notion that ministers sneak out because of the backlash. No, we don't. And there's no need, because why? Most of these I can tell you that my experience in government has shown me that over 70% of the travels that ministers do at no cost to the Gambia government. So there's no need to sneak out if it doesn't come out. But the only reason you would sneak out is if you think
what use is it to the country then? If it's at no cost to the government, what's the benefit to country?
It's representing Gambia at international fora. We are part of multilateral organizations.
So why would you not want people to know?
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that is one thing. The one I want to focus on is that there is no reason to sneak out. If, for example, all these travels are at a cost to the taxpayers, perhaps you would say there's a reason to sneak out. What I'm saying, there's no reason to sneak out. Now, ministers' communication patterns, I cannot speak on that. But for me, I think it's important that ministers communicate, are transparent in their travels. Nothing is wrong with that, because there's nothing to hide. I'll be traveling very soon, and most of my travels are not paid for by the Gambia government, zero cost. It's all paid for by the organizers of these summits and these conferences. So for me, the notion I want
to benefit the
Gambia,
country, how?
Exactly.
No, to benefit the country, how? It's not just good to say, I am going.
What I'm saying is that going to these conferences, one, you network, two, you understand, three, you try to understand how policies work. You bring those policies and replicate. You get funding.
I'll give you an example. Diba was named to this thing since the 2nd of June. I got information about it. Somebody said to me, isn't this newsworthy and whatever, all right? Until I could speak to him to ask how his appointment would benefit the Gambia, I'm not interested in just, telling people that he's done this. How do I, as a taxpayer, all right, contributing to his pay, know how I will benefit, even if it is just reputational benefit to the country?
Yeah.
So we have to know what's in it for us. Telling me that I'm traveling to next week and it's all paid for by the United Nations, why?
No, that is one thing. That's a matter of communication, Peter. That's what I'm trying to say. For me, my focus on is the idea and the notion that ministers sneak and travel just because they are afraid that the backlash. What I'm saying, that should not know. But the issue is that one, ministers don't sneak to travel. There's no reason to sneak, and there should not be no backlash because these travels mostly are fully funded.
Are fully funded. To benefit the Gambia, how?
Of course, yes. Like I said, in many different ways. It depends on the summit. It depends on the forum. It depends on the purpose of the trip. Ministers would just want to travel for the purpose of traveling. What is so exciting about traveling?
Per diem. You ask me what is so exciting about traveling?
No, that is the notion I'm trying to dispel.
Some ministers, before their appointment, they hardly left this country to go to Senegal.
Because they have no business there. Now they have business.
No, they don't have the means to travel.
No.
They do not have the means to travel.
Peter, you need to give me the chance to explain. And I think that notion of per diem is wrong. In the sense that when travels, like I said, are fully funded, there's no per diem. There's no per diem.
We are not sure.
No, I know, I'm telling you. It's not about being unsure.
But there is always money.
There is no per diem.
Whether it is, what do you call it? Is it time travel, whatever,
That is
whatever.
none. That's what I'm telling you. I'm inside. I know what's happening. Like you're telling me about your job for 40 years, that is there. I'm also telling you about my job inside government, how it works. When you travel and it's fully funded for, if accommodation, because in the letter that is written to you, it stated in the letter clearly that accommodation, travel, everything is paid for. Government gives you no money to go. Why would you give the per diem for what? The purpose of the per diem is to pay for your hotel and your feeding and your local transport. Now, if that is covered, why would you give them the money? It wouldn't even go through audit. They would even pay you.
Yeah, we are waiting for...
Even in your clearance. No, even the clearance.
We are waiting for audit.
No, let me explain how it works.
Go ahead.
Like, for example, I'll be traveling to China very soon. Now, the government of China will write to me an invitation, and they'll put an invitation as to travel cost, accommodation is fully paid for by the Chinese government. I'll use that letter to apply for clearance to be allowed to leave the country. Now, in the letter that is given to me to approval, clearance approval, it will say that this will come at no cost to government. So that letter cannot be used to get money from anywhere. It will not even pass your internal audit inside the office, let alone goes to AG, to Auditor General for you to be paid to Treasury. So this whole idea of per diem is a false notion. People think that ministers make money. No, they give you the per diem for you to pay for your hotel and your local transportation and other incidental costs that you may incur during your travel. Now, if all these are covered, nobody gives you money to go. So in most cases, a significant chunk of our travels, we don't receive per diem because it's fully funded. So we go with nothing. In fact, you go at a loss because when you go, people expect that you have to buy some present for it from your own pocket. So sometimes most of these travels are at a loss to government officials. So I think people need to understand that the per diem is not an extra payment they give you for spending night out. The per diem is given to you to pay for your hotel. If you are going to Guinea-Bissau and it's statutory, for example...
You've just been to Guinea-Bissau. How much were you given?
For which one?
Guinea-Bissau.
There are rates for per diem. These are fixed rates by government.
No, I'm just joking.
Now, so I cannot go into those, but there are rates by government when you travel. But most of our travels, Peter, are fully funded. And when they are fully funded, nobody gives you money to go. No per diem is given to you. Because the purpose of the per diem is for you to pay for your hotel. Now, if it says in the letter that the hotel is paid for, so what I want the public to understand how these things work, Peter. I think that is our role as government. Because most people are in government, they don't understand.
I thought he was going to clarify.
And they think that the per diem is given to you because you are traveling, no matter the nature of the travel. The per diem is only paid to you if the travel cost is not covered by the host country. If it's for example, a statutory meeting. But once it is covered by the host, there is no per diem paid to you. Zero per diem is paid to you for your travel. They don't pay you anything because everything is covered for. Now, the money they give you, if it is not paid for by the host country, if it's going to be paid for the Gambia government, it means that they only pay you those days that you'll sleep out, and every night the hotel you pay is what they give you. So when you you pay your hotel, you eat. What else would you save from your per diem? Nothing. So people need to understand that it's a false notion thinking that, okay, the travel is separate and every travel there is per diem. There is no per diem. I've traveled many times since I became minister over 1 year ago. I think if I have done 10 travels, at least 7 are fully funded for by the host country, and I get no per diem for those travels. In fact, when I go there, I have to spend my own money to buy the stuff that I need. If I don't travel, I wouldn't spend that money. I think people need to understand that. That has to be clear. And so therefore, ministers have no reason to sneak out. Yes, I agree with you. We should communicate better because we are serving the Gambian people. We need to be more transparent. Even if the travel comes at a cost to government, we need to tell people that we are traveling, we are going to do X, Y, Z, and this will benefit us. We'll improve on that in that communication. Yeah. I agree with you on that one. But what I'm saying is that I don't want people to have the notion that we sneak out and sneak in because we are using taxpayers' money. Most of these travels comes at no cost to the taxpayer.
Okay, fantastic. Well, when China invites you, China is inviting you because you are a minister in the government of China, because it's China and the Gambia government that have a relationship. Yes. And before you became minister, China was not inviting you. If it invited you.
Because it's not my job. Because now, as a government official.
And what I'm saying, we should always, the Gambian taxpayer should always know the return on investment, whether it's investment directly from the government or China on behalf of all of us. Tell us why, what you people have brought back.
Like I said, Peter, In fact, that has been good for government.
Yeah.
That's good PR for government.
Exactly.
For government officials to be transparent and
Yeah.
tell, because if you are doing something good, tell the government something. If I go to China, like I was in Bissau, I came back, I went to Bissau, I did X, Y, and Z. In Bissau, these are the benefits. It's good for us as a government to tell people what we are doing, particularly those good things. Every travel comes with a benefit. So for me, I see nothing wrong. Like I said, I cannot speak for ministers' communication patterns and communication habits. But for me, like I said, I see nothing wrong with government officials telling the citizens when they travel, what they achieve there, why they travel. This is good for government because it shows we are working. It shows we are working.
I agree with you.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Well, you have only 10 minutes. Let's see whether, let's see how much we can squeeze in. Good morning, Uncle Peter. Is it not a failure of this government to see our Attorney General and Minister of Justice and Interior Minister putting on Ashobi of a political party?
Why would that be a failure of government?
Should they be in...
What has Ashobi to do with government machinery or government?
Well, the argument is the Attorney General should be neutral, should be apolitical.
No, but that is, no. He's a Minister of Justice. He doubles as Minister of Justice, and he's a political.
So he put on the Ashobi because
he's a political appointee. If the Chief Justice or other civil servants put on Ashobis, I'll be worried. But for ministers, we are all political appointees.
Hello, Uncle Peter. Good morning. Can you please ask the Minister about the update on the road of Maria Makunda to Yuna? Did you ever promise an update on this one?
Yes, I think he raised it up.
Yeah.
I raised it with Silla, I think, and I think work will start. I think there has been some how do you call it again? There was some stop, but I think work will start. That was the line I was made to understand.
Mm-hmm.
Hello?
Bisul mo fine.
What?
Bisul mo fine.
Oh. Yes!
Wave Axina Gambia. Deposit and withdraw money, pay bills and buy mobile credit without fees. Transfer money wherever in the country for only 1% fee. At Wave. Bisul mo fine? Wave. Your money is yours.
Jar Oil. The company have filling stations across the country, and our rates are relatively cheaper than anyone else across the country. Jar Oil is the biggest producer and distributor of cement in the country with the most competitive prices in the market.
There was one on nurses and their allowances.
Which one was that? No, I didn't receive any.
Yeah, there was one on Nawek I sent to you.
Yes, and I called the MD, but unfortunately he's out of town. In fact, he traveled yesterday morning. That's why I couldn't get hold of him. But I've taken note of that particular message, and I'll engage the MD tomorrow. I know that it's been dragging. It has to do with the bill, the delay of the bill. Sometimes I think there was a period that Nawek was having challenges in
printing bills.
That was a challenge. I'm not sure. I think they were transitioning from manual to digital billing system. I think because of that, you could sit for 6 months without receiving a bill, and all of a sudden they'll bring you an accumulated.
Manual? No, it can't be manual. Maybe their system had a problem. We were victims of the transition from manual to whatever.
I think what they are trying to do now is people can receive their bills, e-bills. Through telephone, not digital, through electronic bills, so the e-bills, so you can through a mobile phone or email or something like that. Because I think that transition is what they are trying to do. Also, I think that an issue with the billing system. I think, based on what I understand from the last press conference I had with Nawek, because I invited Nawek to discuss that issue. But this is something I've taken note of. I'll engage the MD to see how we can resolve the issue.
Why is the government ignoring the implementation of the ATI, with the Minister of Justice ignoring requests for full disclosure on the sale of Jame assets, especially the volume 4 of the report? What are they hiding and violating their own ATI Act provisions?
But the ATI presupposes that you must make a request to get information. Now, if someone makes a request to get information from an information holder, either in each of the MDAs, and they've refused to acknowledge receipt of your request or to refuse to give it to you, then you can now go to the commission. What we are saying is that, but also remember there are about over 25 exemptions in the ATI Act. when it comes to information. Not all information should be given. There are exemptions like trade-related information, security, third-party, privacy. All these are in the Act. So I think people need to make themselves aware of the Act and how it works, and also the timelines that are put in the Act in terms of, but you must make a request. If this person has made a request to the Ministry of Justice, and Ministry of Justice refuses to disclose or to give them that information without any genuine reason, then we can take it to the Commission for arbitration. But if you don't make a request, you cannot blame the Ministry of Justice for not releasing the list. In fact, the last time I checked, a comprehensive list was released anyway.
Please, Uncle Peter, kindly ask the Honorable Minister, since the inception of the so-called women empowerment, how many women PWDs, persons with disabilities, have been empowered?
Well, I don't have that data. I can find out, but I know that they are also considered, because the data we get from GBOS, also particularly the Family Strengthening Program, mostly PWDs are involved in that. When it comes to the Women Empowerment, Women Enterprise Fund, I'm not sure how many, but I can find out so they can extract that data for me and I can share it with the public.
Good morning. Tell the minister that programs of an opposition party in a third world country can only remain idealistic so long as the people do not buy them by voting them to power. But once they get the opportunity to form the government, then these programs are transformed into realistic alternatives using the taxes paid by the people. In other words,
and when I say
in other words, get out of power, allow the opposition to go in there so that we can,
of course, I think that person is contradicting himself. I don't think he knows what he's talking about. When I say idealistic, it means when you bring policy proposals and all that, they must make sense. They must make sense. For example, you cannot come and tell me if I come, I'll cut taxes by 100% because you want to please the public. You want them to think that they'll get extra money in their pockets. And then you realize, and they ask you a question, how will you fund that deficit in the budget? And you cannot explain. So what we are trying to say is that your policy prescriptions and proposals must do two things. First, it must diagnose what is currently existing and tell us it's not working and why it's not working. But also what you are going to replace it with. That is what we call a realistic policy alternative. And not just sitting and thinking and just saying all sorts of things that, anybody, even the layman in the street will know it doesn't make sense.
Another text. The minister is right about what he's saying, but it's being done wrongly because all those should be started at grade 7 instead of after leaving school, as it was done during our days. I suppose this is the technical subjects. When I went to school, we had, I raised it here once. We had junior secondary schools or secondary technical schools.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Where those who were academically inclined went to the high schools, and those who were, skilled somehow went to, the Latrikunda junior secondary schools, the St. Teresa's junior secondary schools, and learned woodwork, metalwork, so on and so forth. But they started from grade 7.
Yes, I agree with you. Like, that is why...
No, you agree with the textile, maybe.
Currently, what this government is looking into is to do a policy shift insofar as education is concerned. Remember, these policy shifts were done by Jame. That is why last time I argued here that most of our challenges are inherited. Remember, during Jawara, we had primary 1 to 6. Then at that time also, those who did not get a certain pass mark in primary 6, they go to technical education. Yes. Those with a higher mark, they know that you are more academically inclined. You go to high school.
This was the time of the common entrance.
Exactly, we did the common entrance. Okay. I remember. So what I'm saying is that because I remember you go to Form 1 to Form 4, technical school. Then if you want to proceed to Form 5, you go to Form 5, or if you want to go into.
True.
But then Jame came and had a policy shift in education and changed it to what we have now currently. And also, I saw UTG did a study saying that one of the fundamental problems in the education sector is a double shift issue. And all this we inherited. And education policy is long term. We are looking at all these things. We'll do a comprehensive evaluation of the education sector as a government. That's what we are working on, to do comprehensive reforms in the education sector to be in line with 21st century education delivery. That's what we are working on now. And what we have inherited, we cannot dismantle it, because if you dismantle, there's nothing in place. So the transition should be smooth. That is why we are doing all these things in tandem, at the same time looking at the whole entire sector to come up with the necessary reforms to make the sector more productive. But these are inherited policy shifts that were done by Yaya Jammeh, and it's problematic.
Something she inherited, you fixed immediately because, you know, I mean, they meant something to you, yeah?
But you cannot fix education immediately because education is sensitive, it is delicate, it's different from other policy sectors. Education is different, so education you need to be very tactful, you need to be cautious how you do the policy shifts, otherwise it can have far-reaching consequences. It can have a it can have an unwanted consequence. So you need to be very careful. That's why we are looking at it. We are doing things in a manner in which we'll still maintain what is happening, but make it more productive. At the same time, also coming with the reforms that are needed in the education sector to make education more purpose.
You have 1 more minute, so I'll read one more text unless maybe you you decide to stay.
I'll take 3 or 4 more.
You take 3? Okay. Uncle Peter, please let Honorable Minister update us on Lamin Babylon Brikama feeder road. It's still at a standstill for many months now.
Well, I have no idea about that. I'll engage the minister further and come back to that.
Okay. Ibrahim Masila, if you're listening, maybe send him a quick one. Can the minister give clarification on the Gambia government and Elon Musk Starlink licensing?
Well, the process is on. I think the right person to answer that question is the minister responsible for digital economy.
We've been trying to get hold of him.
Yes, we've tried. I think he will come. I think he's just been busy. The process is on. Licensing processes are have regulatory implications, and therefore, government is doing what they're supposed to do as a government to make sure that we do what is right for the Gambia. And I think when a decision is made, the public will be made to know.
From Usman Drame Brikama. Hello, Mr. Gomez. The Criminal Offences Act and the Criminal Procedure Code have been assented to by the President. Therefore, the country has a new criminal framework to guide our justice system. It's a comment. I mean, is this something you can build upon?
No, it's not related to what we've been discussing.
Okay. Mr. Peter, please remind the Minister that it was during the late Kama Baji PPP that the grade 7 to 12 system was introduced.
I think he might be right because I remember we were the last batch or second to last batch, and I did my common entrance in the early 90s. So yes, that might be possible.
Good morning, Uncle Peter. Please can you tell the minister we deeply need his help. Our roads are too bad, especially during the rain. You cannot enter the village with cars, even motorbikes. Last year, communities contributed some money and bought 50 trips of gravel, but we still need more gravel before the rain set in. Can you really help us or connect us to the right channel? We'll be very happy for the first time that the government has done something for my community, and I'm talking about Pacholing Village.
Pacholing Village. I think I saw something online yesterday. It's an open letter. It's about 2 villages, Pacholing and somewhere. I'd really like to see what we can do for this particular village. If this guy can get in touch with me after here, I'll engage. There
are lots of Manjagos in that village. Yes, Manjagos will begin to feel that, this government...
No, I think it's important that because the same thing was happening in Madiana years back, and that's been resolved now. Before Madiana, if it rains sometimes, 4 days, people cannot leave the village or enter the village. But now His Excellency has really done a lot of work. I think, Peter, we have to understand one thing. If for 57 years, we have not done much to improve our road infrastructure, and now we are starting. We can't expect for us to do the whole entire country.
It wasn't 57 when Barrow was taking over.
Okay, 52 years. 52 years. We cannot expect for us to now provide roads to every community in 5, 6, 7 years. It's impossible. Even in your house, if your house has been dilapidated for many, many, many years and you are starting to reconstruct and rehabilitate your house, you have to do it bit by bit. First fix the windows, the doors, the roof, the ceilings, the tiling, the painting. It takes time. We are doing what we can, and I think all these communities will get their fair share. Today, at least the good news is that some have already got theirs. Their roads have been built and now they are happy. It's coming. It will come. But nonetheless, we also accept and acknowledge and appreciate the fact that others now are proactive and asking us for support, and that is why we're always ready to support. And I'm very happy to engage Ibrahim Masila to see what they can do for this patrolling village as well, at least as a short-term measure until after the rains, until they get something that is fixed. But believe me, Peter, the President's vision is to make sure that no road or all roads in this country, particularly feeder roads that go into communities, are tarred. And that is what we are doing. And we've done a lot. Like I said, within this short period, over 1,000 kilometers of roads have been built, and we've commissioned over 500 more extra kilometers, plus others are coming. So it will come, but we cannot give roads to every part of the country at the same time. Others will start benefit first, and others will come. The good news is that everybody will get theirs, and I think we'll try to help this village to get a short-term solution before the rain starts.
Can the minister tell us when we can renew our ID and driving licenses? Further, when will number plates be available?
I don't think there are problems with that.
There are no problems with that?
No, IDs are being issued.
Are they?
Driver's licenses are being issued, number plates are being issued. I don't think that's a problem. No. That one I can guarantee you.
You can. Okay, all right. Let me see now. Somebody just repeating. So let's go to the WhatsApp and see what's come from outside. Good morning, Uncle Peter. I believe the minister is misleading the public for saying that most of government travels are fully funded by inviting parties. It's the opposite. Most of the travel fully funded, the ministers or the presidents and their junior staff. They can start communicating to the public which travels are funded by the inviting parties and the ones that are funded by Gambia government. We need evidence to believe it's clear.
No, but I think if we as government officials, I think he is the one, he should bring the evidence that most of them are not funded by the inviting parties. I mean, why would we lie about that? You see, Peter, nothing is wrong with public officials traveling if it comes at the cost of government, because we are doing our work. And if our work says we should go out, we should go out. Nothing is wrong with that. So for me, what is the issue? So why should we lie about that? If we are traveling and it is a cost to the taxpayers, we will say it is cost to the tax. It's part of our job. That's what we are paid to do. But if it's at a cost to the inviting party, we also say that. What I can guarantee you and what I can say here with my clear conscience is that most of our travels are not paid for by the Gambia government. They are paid for by the inviting parties, except if they are statutory travels. Those ones, because we have to go, we are part of multilateral organizations, we have to attend meetings and forums, yes. But most of them are at no cost to Gambia government. And that is the fact. So for me, Peter, that's all I can say.
Good morning, Mr. Gomez. You said 2 or 3. This is the third one.
Yep.
So, as you will see, it's a good one to end on. Good morning, Mr. Gomez. The government is doing a great job in most areas and should be commended. If all they have done in terms of roads and health improvements were done since independence, they'd have been building on that and other areas. Uncle Peter, I suggest you take the opposition to task when you invite them to be more realistic in their criticism, because they are vying to be elected someday and we are taking note. Great program.
Yes, Peter, I think he's right. He's very right. Okay. The opposition, to be honest, Peter, as we have now, they don't have an alternative to what His Excellency is giving to Gambians, and that is a fact. The opposition are not united. They don't have a vision. They lack foresight, and they have not convinced anybody that they can do better than President Adama Barrow in every sector. And I want them to bring them in and hold them and task them to tell us exactly what they would do differently in providing road infrastructure that we are not doing. But don't just listen to them to say, I'll do X, Y, Z. No. Let them first diagnose what we are doing. They need to understand, because as an opposition, you need to understand what the government's policy stances and policy prescriptions. You need to understand that. If you don't understand, that is a problem. But most of our opposition don't even know what the current government is doing. They don't have no clue about our policies, about our strategies, about our vision. All they are interested in is to paint the government black, thinking that would open number one Marina Parade to them. And they are making a grave mistake. Gambians are not sleeping. Gambians are conscious, and Gambians have appreciated enormously what His Excellency the President has done for them in providing the most basics to them that they've never ever experienced in their entire existence in this country since the time of the colonial period to the PPP and to the APRC government, in terms of water access, in terms of electricity access, in terms of education, healthcare, roads, support for farmers, women empowerment, youth empowerment, you name it. The president is embarking on an explosive model of development never witnessed before in this country. So they will vote for him come 2026, Peter.
I was going to let you go, but I was just lining up Shola Mahoney for the Shola Mahoney podcast when, the other screen came on. And I have a note there that says Chairman Health Center, because I meant to ask you, what's the update on Chairman Health Center? Sidin Jai and the local MP were accused of, stopping the diaspora club from going ahead with, improving at least the maternity ward at the Chairman Health Center. All right, they were laying the foundation stone. But the guy who was coordinating, because he was associated, probably still is associated with the UDP. I mean, these people intervened. So what's the state? What's the update on Chairman?
With regards to the renovation of Chairman, I'm reading from the Ministry of Health. I got this a couple of days ago because someone asked me this question and I had to engage the minister, and this is what I was sent.
I probably forwarded it to you for you to be part of your updates. And you
no, you didn't. It's the Standard newspaper. Okay. Someone in the Standard. With regards to the renovation of Chairman Health Center and 3 other health facilities, Brikama District Hospital, Fodekunda Health Center, and Yorobawal Health Center, the process is still on. The Ministry of Works and Infrastructure, through the National Social Protection Agency, NSP, has done the assignment and submitted the initial drawings to Ministry of Health to review. Ministry of Health has done the review and submitted it back to Ministry of Works with comments which they are now incorporating into the final drawings. There was a little delay in the environmental and social impact assessment report, which has been finalized and submitted to the African Development Bank, which is funding this project. According to NSPA, the final drawings will soon be submitted to the AFDB for the board to review and approve by end of June 2025. Once approval is granted, the tendering process will commence and then the work will start. So this is the update on that.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Dr. Cisse, thank you very much for coming. It's coffee time with Peter Gomez.
Jar Oil. The company have filling stations across the country, and our rates are relatively cheaper than anyone else across the country. Jar Oil is the biggest producer and distributor of cement in the country with the most competitive prices in the market.
Excellent jams, Wave.
Yo, apply. Yo, luta do de. Luta mo nulo jël moto nga andil ma xaalis. Hello?
Bisul mu fine.
What?
Bisul mu fine.
Oh, yes!
Wave Accina Gambia. Deposit and withdraw money, pay bills and buy mobile credit without fees. Transfer money wherever in the country for only 1% fee. At Wave. Bisul mu fine? Wave. Your money is yours.